to pause. We pause for a second or two. This is episode 105, Preserving What Works. Right now, in our daily lives, there are many different areas, many different details, many different everyday solutions or habits or just about anything in our everyday life that is being subjected to what now in the fashion is called progress. Progress seems to be everywhere. Progress seems to pop up wherever we look. So it does not matter really if it's our work life, our personal lives, our collective culture, just about anything. There is some sort of progress being suggested. That something should be re-evaluated or replaced. That something is deemed not modern enough or not good enough. So it should give way for this new solution, this new thing, whatever that might be. We are changing so much right now. We are replacing so much of our old ways, our tested ways, our ways that already works. So it used to be, if it's not broken, why fix it? And now it's more like, fix it, regardless. Even if it's not broken, fix it. Today's episode is called Preserving What Works. And preserving is a way of saying that some things in our everyday lives, some habits, some behaviors we have that works, we tend to lose because we have not sketched them down. The Polaroid for today's episode is specific skill sketch for our long-term situation. For example, this podcast, this framework, the pause framework of emotional skills, is one such sketch, is one such preserved set of habits and behaviors and skills that works. These times are very confusing. They demand a lot of conscious thought on our part. And emotionally, oftentimes it feels like we are not enough. It gets overwhelming. And if you look, for example, at this framework, the pause framework, there are many different skills there. There are many different Polaroids. And in our everyday life, situation to situation, moment by moment, to keep all of these inside of us consciously is very difficult to do. It's almost impossible. But when we sketch them out, our skills, our habits, our behaviors that work, when we sketch them out, we do not have to keep them in our head constantly. We can sort of just glance at this framework once in a while, look at it, and be reminded, oh, that thing. Oh yeah, I forgot about that thing. And so on. That's what I do every morning. I sit in front of the framework and I just think for a while. I look at it and just quite intuitively thinks for a while about which one of these, if any of them, feels like I need to pay some attention to maybe. And then sometimes one of them stands out, sometimes it's more than one, and sometimes it's none of them. And this sort of preservation of my energy, also preservation of our energy, is made possible because we have sketched out it in the first place. Emotions are very difficult to navigate in times of conflict. So sketching things out helps us in our everyday lives so that we may use our conscious thinking, our energy for novel things, for new circumstances which we have not encountered before. And then we may revisit what we sketch out and preserve new things that we learn are working. So if we look at the pause framework for a moment, we see that there are 5 different difficult situations. You see the cards on the framework that are cardboard colored, and they are named sleep, acute, long-term, confused, and worn out. These 5 we have sketched out because they are recurring, difficult situations which pop up just about all the time. They just make up much of the experience of living. So, in the olden days, we have different systems of ethics, of morals, of traditions. We have different sets of religions, political ideologies. We have different philosophical schools. We have different views of scientific endeavors, of science. And all of these are different examples of people having sketched out what seems to work. Much of living right now is to navigate all the change and all the progress that is being presented or forced upon people. And it is very important that we, as individuals, sketch out what works for us individually, somewhat separately from the common ways, the common progress, the common technology. Because many new things, many decisions of progress fails. And then if we have completely abandoned what works for us individually, we are left there standing with nothing. You have a set of habits, skills that has worked for you. And if you sketch them out, you may present them in any way that feels intuitive to you. If you sketch them out, then when that troublesome day comes, when some progress, some collective progress fails, then you will also have your alternative to fall back on. It's very much about creating our own alternative, becoming an alternative to the collective motion that is filled with so much restless energy. And we carry a lot of conservative or realistic energy as well within us. But our realistic energy needs some help. And that is us sketching out what works and keeping it close so that we may look at it every day. And then, when something new is presented to us, they say this new progress is the best. Everyone should be doing this, or everyone must do this. Then we look at what we have sketched out for ourselves, what we know works, and we make a judgment call. Do we want to hop on this new thing? Or do we want to stay where we are in our individual alternative? And we do this on we do it piece by piece. We do it as we go. And we do not need to be stubborn about it. We do not need to condemn everything new. We do not need to accept all of it. We can decide moment by moment, piece by piece, and choose what matter of degree feels just right, feels lagom to us. And this is the way to go long term for our long term situation. And I want to close with saying that there are so many great things already have been conserved, preserved by people past. Every tradition has some golden treasures that may be cherry-picked by us, that we can be inspired by and assimilate into our own world. There is so much knowledge of what has worked always and what works in a specific set of circumstances. And we can go way back. Some things are just the same over the millennia. A surprising amount of truths are just the same through times and times. And we join that tradition of preserving what works, and what works because it works. Does not always have to be categorized. We just find some way of expressing it, sketching it out, and there we have it for a rainy day. That's it for today. Thank you.